Hi everyone, join me today as I paint this cute cottage in watercolor and some pencil crayons. For my painting today, I'm going to use these two Kuretake sets. The Art Nouveau set is the larger and the Nuance is the smaller. These two sets have got beautiful pastel colors that are going to suit my project beautifully. And I'm going to paint in my Potentate sketchbook today. This has got 100% cotton hot press paper and the pages are 19 by 19 centimeter, and I really like the deckled edge to the pages inside. I'm going to start with my sketch already inked on the page. You can download the free traceable sketch reference if you follow the link in the description box below. I will also put the direct link to the website on the screen now. I've decided that I want to add another tree on the left hand side just to take up some of the empty space that's there. So I'm going to sketch that in pencil now and then add the ink. The sketchbook that I used to sketch this picture in was an A5 sketchbook, so not as wide as this one. So I think I'm just going to add a few extra rocks and extend the length of the fence. I'm going to start the painting process now. I'm not going to list the name of each of the colors that I'm using because it doesn't matter whether you're using this set or a different set, or if you're wanting to do your own permutation of colors. A lot of the time I will be doing what is called a flat wash. For example, when I do the tiles on the roof, I'm not looking for any texture or gradient of color. I'm just doing the flat color of each tile, and I'll come in with an additional layer to put some shadow and contrast on that. But I will slow down the process when I do things like the wall of the house and the trees, because there is a little bit more technique involved with that. If you are enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would click the like button. Doing this really helps to grow my small YouTube channel, and it also tells YouTube to share videos like this with other people like you who might enjoy it too. Also, I would love to know where in the world you are watching from. I am a South African living in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I have been here for a number of years now. I would love to know where you are from. Let me know in the comments box below. Also, give me feedback on my videos, what you're enjoying and what you would like to see more of. I would love to hear from you. So you can see with the trees, I'm going to work wet in wet here. I'm putting down a very wet mix of the light green. And then once I've got that down, I'm going to add a darker green into it. So now I'm picking up the darker green and dropping that in at the bottom. It's going to blend up on its own because it is so wet. But nonetheless, I will rinse my brush off and assist the color in blending from the bottom up. But I really want to leave the top of the trees as light as possible so that I do get a nice color gradient on it. So I will stipple my brush around as I'm helping the color to blend, and then if I need to, I will add more darker green at the bottom if I'm wanting a stronger gradient. So I'm going to let some music play now whilst there's a bit of repetitiveness in the painting, and I hope that you will paint along with me. I will chat again once we get to the next layer. Now I'm going to work on the walls of the house, and I'm wanting to get a bit of a weathered look to the walls. So I'm going to start by putting down a very wet mix of a creamish coloured mixture. I'm going to make it very watery so that it doesn't dry out whilst I get the colour down, so that I can come in and drop in a different colour on top. I'm going to work on this front-facing wall first on its own, and I'm going to pick up a greyish blue colour and drop that in around the edges to get the weathered look that I'm looking for. I'll drop this colour in around the edges and under the eaves and also under the flower boxes. And once I've done the initial drop in, if I want to intensify the colour in places, I'll just drop in some more colour in a slightly thicker consistency in the areas where I'm wanting it a little bit more intense. If you are enjoying this video and you would like to make a donation to me, you can do so on my Buy Me a Coffee platform. I'll put the link in the description box below, and I will also put it on the screen now. As I'm sure you can appreciate, putting together tutorials like this along with the free traceable sketch references takes a huge amount of work, and I appreciate any and all donations. If you have made a donation, thank you. Now I want to add a little bit of depth to my painting, so I want to do a bit of a background. I'm going to start by doing a layer of bushes just immediately behind the house. I'm going to use some dark green, really watered down, and I'll put that down first. And once I've got it down, I will use my brush to do some flick ups to make it look like a bit of grass sticking out on top of the green. I think this gives a very nice effect and adds a bit of dimension to my painting. I'm going to do it on both sides of the house, and then I'm going to let this dry completely before I come and add an additional layer further back behind this one. Before I let it dry, I'm just going to add some darker green closer to the house just to give it a bit of shadow. Now that that's completely dry, I want to add another layer of depth behind the house. Keep in mind that the further back we want a layer to look, the more blue we must make it. So that's why I'm using a bluer color here to make it look like some distant hills or bushes behind the layer that I've already put down. So I'm using the bluer color, and I'm going to use it in a more watery consistency to push it further back on my page. Now I want to add some sky, so I'm going to work wet and wet. I'll use my bigger brush to put water down over the whole sky area first. Once I've got the water down, I'll mix up my blue color and then dot it in on the page. I'm wanting it to look a little bit like clouds, so I'm not going to use a consistent color blue, but rather just dot it around in the whole sky area and let it blend on its own. Now I'm going to do some work with pencil crayons. This is completely optional, and what I'm doing with the pencil crayons could also just as easily be done wet on dry using watercolor paints. I find it convenient to use pencil crayons to do sharp edges of shadow around things like the door, but you could also, as I said, easily use watercolor. These are just normal pencils, they aren't watercolor pencils, and I won't be activating them with water. But I'm just going to work around my painting now with my pencil crayons, adding some shadow and depth wherever I feel it's necessary. I'm going to put some shadow on each of the roof tiles on those shorter edges to give them a bit of a three-dimensional look. And that you could also easily do with your watercolor paints using a shadow color of some kind. So follow along with me either with your pencil crayons or with your watercolor paints as we add some shadow and dimension to our painting. And there's the final sketch. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments box below. Until next time, bye for now.